The last doll. I grew up never liking to play with Barbie dolls, but every year on my birthday, my dad would still give me one. He was the best dad a girl could ask for, especially after my mom passed away when I was just 10. From that day on, he dedicated his entire life to raising me. I always had the best clothes, the newest phone, the latest tech gadgets, and even a brand new car when I got my driver's license. But the Barbies he gave me were the only gifts that made me feel uneasy. My dad sacrificed so much to give me everything. He cut his work hours so he could pick me up from school and be there when I came home. We lived in a humble apartment, and while I enjoyed the master bedroom, he slept in a closet he converted into a small space for himself. He never bought himself new clothes and would get his personal items from thrift shops and dollar stores. Yet, every year, without fail, he gave me a new Barbie for my birthday. I remember when I was 16 that something changed. That is when I stopped playing with the Barbies and just placed them on my shelf. That year, a day before my birthday, I saw something that stuck with me. I saw my dad hugging a woman with long black hair outside a store, and she handed him a Barbie doll. I didn't say anything, but the next morning, when he gave me the Barbie, I knew it wasn't from him. The doll even resembled that woman, not my mom. From then on, I felt like the dolls were a betrayal to my mother's memory. As I grew older, I saw my dad with that woman more frequently. He never drove much since his car often broke down, so he walked a lot. I'd spot them walking around town, sometimes holding hands, and though I knew deep down he deserved companionship, I couldn't help but feel resentment. She wasn't my mom. She couldn't replace her. As I was nearing the end of college, I had already secured a job in a city 200 miles away. Though the thought of me moving devastated my dad, he supported me every step of the way. He mentioned he had saved up some money as a graduation gift to help me settle in. The night before graduation, while we were preparing dinner together, he told me he would still be getting me a Barbie this year, making it extra special since it was the day before my birthday. That's when I couldn't hold it in anymore. I told him I didn't want another Barbie, and that I never liked them because they didn't remind me of my mom. I told him about the woman I saw years ago, and how I knew the dolls came from her. His face fell, and he was stunned, not knowing what to say. I stormed off in tears, not knowing how to process it all. The next morning, the day of my graduation, I left early for the hair salon appointment, the first time I'd left the house before my dad. I sent him a message. I love you, Dad. Sorry, I had to leave early. See you at graduation. But he never replied and never showed up. During the graduation ceremony, I kept looking for him in the crowd, trying to spot him, but he wasn't there. I called, texted, no reply. My heart sank, and I couldn't focus on the ceremony. I started thinking back to our conversation the night before. Maybe I had hurt him too much. Maybe he was upset. The thought haunted me as the ceremony dragged on, and I left the stage feeling more alone than ever. Everyone else was taking pictures with their families, but I was standing there by myself. Then that woman approached me. She was holding a bouquet of flowers and a box with a Barbie doll inside. My heart dropped. Is he okay? Where is he? I asked, tears streaming down my face. The woman started crying too and told me my dad was in the hospital, but he wanted me to have the gift he'd promised. I felt the world collapse around me as she led me to her car, saying she'd take me to him. On the way, stuck in traffic, I turned to her. My voice trembling, I asked, "What's your name?" She wiped her eyes and said, "Nicole." I bluntly asked her who she was. She then held her tears, and after a long pause, she told me everything. My dad had come to see her the same morning. He was heartbroken by our conversation, and he wanted to explain everything to me but didn't get a chance. Nicole explained. She told me she never replaced my mom. Nothing romantic ever happened between them. Nicole had lost her own daughter years ago, and my dad had been seeking her advice on how to raise me. As a single father, he struggled to give me the perspective of a mother, and he often turned to Nicole for help. Nicole worked at a toy store, and once a year, she received a free Barbie doll. She would give them to my dad, because she knew he couldn't always afford them, especially with the sacrifices he made to give me everything else. For Nicole, giving me those dolls was a way to honor the daughter she had lost. My dad and Nicole had bonded over their grief, and they never talked about anything but me. I had been their connection all these years. The car ride felt endless, but Nicole's words began to piece together the misunderstandings I had carried for so long. When we finally reached the hospital, all I could think about was seeing my dad and telling him how much I loved him.